applied tourniquets to both legs to stop the bleeding while dealing with the patient who was in shock and fighting for his life. Their quick and professional actions saved the life of the pedestrian who had been struck. Charges were filed against the motorcyclist who was DUI at the time of the incident. West Shore Regional Police Chief Anthony Minium, whose jurisdiction this event occurred in, nominated Officer McClure, West Shore Officer Grant Cox, and New Cumberland Officer Matthew Bates for the Cumberland County Chiefs of Police a Life-Saving Award, which the membership unanimously approved. Officer McClure and the other officers are to be commended for their quick and effective actions, which resulted in saving the life of this pedestrian as a result of this accident. And we want to congratulate you, Ryan.
The plaque says Life-Saving Medal Award presented to Officer Ryan McClure, Canville Police Department for your actions on October 14th, 2022. Thank you very much for your actions that evening, and thank you for doing what you do. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. The agenda approvals are included here. It's a consent agenda, includes approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes and from the previous council meeting, as well as all of the committee meetings, and the treasurer's report. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Everything look good? All right, all those in favor of the agenda approvals, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll begin then with the manager's report.
Good evening. Just a couple of events that I attended. I recently met with our new state representative, Patty Kim. She actually came here to the borough, her own initiative, to introduce herself. And I also heard her speak on January 25th at the Harrisburg Regional Chamber of Commerce's Legislators Forum, which was co-sponsored by the West Shore Chamber of Commerce, which we are members of. There were 7 state representatives from Dauphin, Perry, and Cumberland counties, and each legislator shared their priorities and positions on a variety of topics. Local government leaders, including myself for some reason, were also recognized and thanked for our work. So I unexpectedly had to stand up for a round of applause.
Oh, that's good.
I thought I was keeping a low profile. The Cumberland County Municipal Advisory Board that meets, I think, 4 times a year in person and via Zoom. I attended that via Zoom with the Cumberland County Commissioners. A lot of the municipal representatives in attendance and on the phone and on Zoom shared updates from their communities, and county staff provided information about the emergency responder tax credits, the upcoming radio transition, and the ARPA grant reporting requirements. And finally, you will notice the new audiovisual equipment. Some of it is new, some of it is repurposed, some of it is reoriented, and we're experimenting with the best way to handle it. The item in the middle of the ceiling is a very high-powered camera, so make sure that you look nice for the camera throughout the meeting. Also, be sure to use the microphones, and those in the audience, please be sure when you use that microphone that you lean very close to it. These have much greater sensors, but that one you have to get close to, and so you should hold the microphone or lean into it, hold it close to your chin so that you can be heard. So basically the biggest change is that the audience now has a bigger screen than the board, so hopefully everyone in the audience will enjoy their experience more. And if you want to see our staff, you'll have to ask them to stand.
If we want to see our staff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Next is the reports of committees and board liaisons. The first committee report is from Public Safety. Mercedes.
Thank you. We will start with the mayor's report, please.
Okay, thank you. Briefly, the police department handled 775 calls in the month of January. The fire department handled 27 calls. Fire department-wise activities, I've spent a lot of time in the last few weeks. We're working on the Assistance of Firefighters grant to try to get some funding for this new radio system. We're actually working with the West Shore Bureau of Fire, East Pennsboro, and Hampton Township. We have a better chance as doing it as regional versus just the Camp Hill Fire Department. So that grant is the submission date is Friday by 5 p.m. So we actually have a grant writer that's working with us on that. So hopefully we can get some funding. So that's my report.
Great, thank you. Just some updates on the towing proposal that we talked about at a previous meeting. We only received one proposal from G.A. Smith Auto and Towing, so I wanted to provide that update. The second update is the revisions that the Public Safety Committee requested for the police policy manual have been completed. So the committee will be sending the rest of you the policy manual to review before the March 8 meeting for consideration of approval. And if it gets approved, it will be posted on our website. And there's going to be an action item. We're recommending the transfer of 2 used police vehicles to the Camp Hill Fire Department. The chief and assistant chief have to use their personal vehicles for fire department business because they don't have a fire department vehicle they can use. So that's going to be an action item. And I want to check, does anybody have any questions?
I have a curiosity question. Wasn't there like a big fire just recently? Didn't like a major hotel or something burn down? That
Yeah,
was just, I think-
last Friday evening, the Motel 6 in Upper Allen Township caught on fire. We were there. There was 4 of us. 4 of us spent a couple hours there Friday evening. So nobody was hurt.
That's good.
Any other questions? That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mercedes. The next committee report is Jennifer Hoover with Public Works.
Thank you. We met yesterday morning, and we will meet again the first Tuesday of March. The meeting minutes, I think, were distributed to each of us earlier this afternoon. We have 5 action items before us. Before I get to that, I will note that the monthly report that Lester, our Public Works Director, is provided in the report. I would highlight there's a variety of information, but just to take note that there is a project update that is also available on our website. But both he in that report as well as Mike will provide updates on a variety of projects, including the work done by In Situ Forum, our park pump station, as well as our 2023 ADA ramp planning for upcoming. Then next, in regards to action items, before I do turn it over to Mike, again, there are 5. If you recall, last meeting we did advertise the sale of a variety of items on Municipid. All but one item, which was a desk, was not bid upon, but the remainder were bid upon and totaled approximately $13,000-ish, right? So we're seeking approval of council tonight to approve those items for sale. Mike also discussed with us yesterday our budgeted expenditure for a roadway condition study, so he can talk a little bit more about that, but that will help us to both rank, score, and prioritize how we can best improve our roadway structure in the borough in a more strategic manner. We have a payment application as well for In Situ Forum, so I think Mike will touch upon that. We also talked about, so we'll seek partial payment for that. Tonight, we also discussed the Market Streetscape project. in moving ahead with that project, but first, because of certain engineering services being required, we need to bid that, and most of that cost also is the result of having to have a PennDOT certified inspector for that project because Market Street is a state road. So we are seeking tonight the approval of those services to HRG in the estimated amount of $149,500. And then lastly, tonight, seeking your approval for a proposal that the school district sought out to resurface the Seabrook Park track station. The total amount of that project is $273.260, but that would be split with the Camp Hill School District. So, before anything else, just a few other items. The minutes that will be available also talked about the efforts of our Bee City USA committee to plant a pollinator garden along with signage. And Sarah also updated us with regards to the pedestrian improvements related to Creston, Eisenhower, and Logan Street. And lastly, before Mike gets his turn, please mark your calendar for Wednesday, July 26th for Stormfest. As Sarah says, volunteers will be needed. Okay, Mike.
Thank you. Have some project updates and a few requested actions that'll come up in the last segment of the meeting. The first item in my report is a roadway conditions assessment. This is something that we've been talking about with the Public Works Department for a while now, to the extent that it was included in a budget line item for this year. Essentially, there are two categories of technology that can be used to scan roadways. The older and still the more detailed version is a laser scan. Provides beautiful results, but it's very expensive and requires a lot of specialized equipment. One that we've had a lot of success with other municipalities in using is, it's called Robotics. It's a proprietary vendor-supplied AI-driven assessment that essentially uses a smartphone on the dashboard, and you drive the roadways and it will compute the score, the condition score. And the reason we think that would be advantageous is that it gives us an objective sort of baseline to prioritize future projects. And it meshes nicely with what the Stormwater Authority is doing to televise the pipes under the road. Obviously, we don't want to fix the pipes, and then we don't want to pave the road and then dig it up to fix the pipes. So with those two pieces, it allows a lot of good planning for future years. Our request to perform that, both for HRG services and we have to pay the vendor who supplies the software, is $7,600. We understand it was an $8,000 budget line item, so I think we're within the budget. Also, under transportation projects, we currently have the 2023 curb ramp replacements out to bid. This is for a series of curb ramps in sort of the northwestern corner of the borough that were funded through a DCED grant that Sarah secured last year. We're bidding it as a base bid plus some alternates so that we'll have some flexibility to tailor the size of the project to fit the grant amount. So if the bids come in low, we can do a few more ramps. If the bids come in high, we can do fewer ramps. Those are due at the end of the month, and we should be coming back in March to request approval of that bid. Sanitary sewer projects, the Seabrook Park Force Main lining contract. I think I reported last month that the contractor was unsuccessful in their attempt to line under Cumberland Boulevard. They had originally proposed another liner within the liner. We had some technical concerns with that approach that we raised to them. Initially, they pushed back and tried to address those concerns, but very shortly after said, forget it, we're just going to remove the pipe and install a new one, which they were able to do because there's a casing pipe under Cumberland Boulevard. So the pipe isn't buried in the ground, the pipe goes through a bigger pipe, and they were able to, with some difficulty, but they were able to remove that pipe and install a new one. So at this point, the force main is, none of it has been lined, but it has been replaced from the park side of Cumberland Boulevard down to Lincoln Street. That leaves one piece of the project that was originally scoped for in situ form not complete at this point, but because their costs had escalated so much with the change orders, we believe it would be cheaper to have the pump station contractor, which is HRI, do a new installation for that last piece, which is all in the park, and it would go from Cumberland Boulevard around the pool parking lot to the pump station. In the meantime, the existing pump station is back online, and the bypass pump and the bypass pipes are being removed. We still have to work with the contractor and get 25th Street fixed. There's some paving work to do there, so that remains to be done. When the pump station contractor does the rest of that installation, we don't anticipate the need to reinstate the bypass, because we had in situ form install basically a Y with a valve on each side, so we can turn off one valve, turn on the other valve, and we're switched over. So I think we're done with the pipe in the pedestrian walkway. We have received a payment application from in situ form. I believe it was the amount of $328,000. We don't agree with all of that. There are still some costs that are in dispute, but there is work that is done and has tested and is acceptable. So we're requesting partial payment tonight of application for payment number 1 in the amount of $214,688.10 to in situ form. Any questions on that one before I move on? Okay. Storm sewer projects. We've drafted an amendment to the Chesapeake Bay Pollutant Reduction Plan. This plan was originally drafted in 2018 and anticipated a certain set of projects that over the course of 5 years, some of those projects have been implemented and been successful, but some of the other ones we felt that there was a more cost-effective way to complete the goal. There's a table on the last page of my report that describes what the current set of projects is. Before we can adopt that amendment, DEP requires that we go through a public comment period. So the plan has been advertised. A hard copy is available here at the borough office and on the website. There's contact information there for anyone who wants to provide public comment on the document to raise those. And tonight we are specifically inviting any kind of public comment if people would like to provide it here in the public forum, as opposed to providing a written comment. So especially during the second period of public comment here before the action items, encourage anyone who has thoughts or wants to provide comment on that Chesapeake Bay plan to do so this evening. We're not requesting adoption this evening. We need to wait until the March meeting for the full length of that public comment period to run. But we will be back next month and request adoption of that plan. That's everything in my report.
Okay. Next is Community, Business, and Government Relations. Emily?
So the farmer's market is coming back on May 16th. Mark your calendars. And it'll run through the end of October. The spring fling is March 25th. And one of the big things we talked about last month at our meeting was creating a new way to communicate with residents and community members about what's going on at the borough. So since then, we have been working on developing an email newsletter that will go out monthly to anyone that signs up for that specific thing. And I am told by Julie that the link will be on the website soon for that. It's there now? Yesterday she said it will be there soon. So, so that's very exciting.
So residents should not assume that just because we are on a Blackboard list.
It is a separate list.
Yes,
It's going to be on MailChimp, so it's like creating an email list for MailChimp. So that will have a digest of things that are going on, projects, whatnot. And we have a meeting tomorrow for the committee, and we will be further discussing what to include and how we're going to get that information. So if anyone wants to come to the meeting, it's tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's my report.
Okay, any questions? No? Okay, Parks and Rec, Mercedes.
All right. There's going to be a summer jobs party from February 21st to the 23rd at the Borough Building, and applicants for summer jobs at the pool can enter to win a summer prize basket. So we encourage young people to come and, or anybody to come and apply for a summer job. The Bunny Extravaganza is Saturday, March 25th. The Kite Festival is Sunday, May 21st. And online registration for camps begins on Wednesday, March 1st. And the same day, you can start buying your pool memberships. We are currently accepting, oh, I already said this, but I'll reiterate that we're accepting employment applications for summer camp counselors, front desk at the pool lifeguard, and snack shack positions. I'm going to have 4 action items for your consideration. One of them is going to be requesting the Earl Besh Fund's going to be requesting to host our Trick or Trot 5K November 4th. It's the same route as usual. We're going to be requesting to sell 4 items from the Snack Shack on Municipid. We're also going to be requesting the swim club, the swim club's requesting 4 meet days for the pool and to put out some yard signs. And we got a request to put a sandwich board out by Willow Park to promote the Canadensis spaghetti dinner. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions. No? Okay, thanks.
Right. Planning and zoning, Bonnie.
The minutes from our planning and zoning meeting last Friday are in your packet, as is our code officer's report, in which he has listed $688,000 approximate dollars in construction and a total of 142 calls this month. Of note from our meeting, 2 items. Regarding the draft zoning ordinance, our zoning consultant is making a few outstanding changes to our draft zoning ordinance per the recommendations of the County Planning Commission. So our Planning and Zoning Committee is hopeful that we will be able to review the final changes at our February 17th meeting, which is next Friday. And also, just as a reminder, regarding the plastics survey, we have had the single-use plastic survey available on our borough website, but our February newsletter just went out, and you can find a QR code. I think it's on page 9 in the newsletter, so you can just take your phone, focus on the QR code, and it will take you right to the survey. So we're hoping to get more residents' feedback. Let's see. Tonight, we will have a presentation about the land development plan proposed for the Chase Banking Center at the corner of Chestnut Street and 32nd. The address encompasses numbers 3115 through 3133 Chestnut Street. The applicant is Consolidated Properties, and would you like to begin your presentation?
Good evening. My name is Scott Steger. I work for Consolidated Properties, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on the project. I do want to apologize for being here without my engineer, but he was called away on a family emergency. So I'm going to rely a little bit on Mike from HRG and the staff from the previous meetings we've had, and Colton with codes. He was involved in a lot of our discussions. If you guys have any technical questions, I'm an accountant, so I just understand most of it, but not well enough to address them all. I'm going to try to keep this focused and short in the spirit of how you guys have been running your meeting tonight, which is pretty damn good. The borough and Mr. Saluco entered into a settlement agreement that provides an avenue for the development of the 32nd and Chestnut Street corner. And that is a proposed banking site for Chase Bank to come onto the West Shore and into the central Pennsylvania area for the first time. The settlement agreement included a sketch plan on how the site will be developed, and including building elevations, signage, and other important items that were part of the council's concepts of entering into the settlement agreement and the things they wanted to see. We submitted to the borough a land development plan based on that settlement agreement once it was executed. The plan was reviewed by the borough engineer, solicitor with regard to the settlement agreement, and the borough codes, and along with a submission to the county. We met with the Planning Commission to review all the engineering comments, and after that meeting, we received comments from the county regarding stormwater. A meeting was scheduled with our engineer and the borough staff, HRG, to address specific actions to clear all the review comments and open issues associated with the plan that was originally submitted. Based on the Planning Commission's comments and that meeting, we were able to address the comments and resubmitted the plan last week. After tonight, the plan will go back to the Planning Commission for its next meeting and then come back to you for hopeful final approval. So at this point, I'll address any questions that you may have and go from there.
No questions?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and last, under planning and zoning is the climate action plan report, which is short because we haven't had our meeting yet. It is this Monday, and we hope to review a final draft of the climate action plan that's being prepared and hope to present it to council in March. So that ends my report, unless anybody has any questions. Okay.
Thank you, and I'm going to turn it right back over to you to step in for
Oh, that's
Michelle
great.
Forbes, who is unable to be here tonight.
Okay. So for tonight's meeting, PPP would like to recommend Debbie Lawrence to be appointed to the Human Relations Committee. And so that will be an action.
Okay. Finance, Sherry.
All right, terrific. Thank you very much. Our Finance Committee met on January 26th, and one of the first things we did was just go back over the 2022 budget again. We really honed in a few lines, trying to make sure we extracted some learnings or talked about some trends that we're seeing in the coming year. But, as we discussed last month, we feel pretty happy about the way we budgeted in 2022, and just look forward to those learnings helping us and guiding us in 2023. So that was a great conversation. Right now, the team is really working on answering a lot of auditor questions, and we've got a bunch of different groups here. We won't go into all the details around that, but just lots of fun with auditors is kind of the theme, which is great, and I'm sure they'll be excited to see how wonderful we're running our budget and managing money. A few action items that we're going to address this evening is we'll have a motion to approve the transfer of money from our general fund to our capital improvement fund. This is typical, so we're basically going to take out 25% of the $1 million we have budgeted and move that over from the general fund to the capital improvements fund. And then as we work through the year, we'll just keep transferring more money. And then the other thing that we'll be approving this evening is the approval for checks that we do every month. Just a few things, we have some invoices that we're paying. A couple things I'll just highlight really quickly for your curiosity and interest. One is that we did purchase a sewer televising system, and that's really terrific because now we have the equipment and we can televise on our own versus having to hire a company to come and do it for us. That's going to save money. And then, we have some kind of interesting regular line items like paying for cyber insurance. Yes, the borough does have cyber insurance, as most entities, so it's important, right? Mm-hmm. We have engineering service fees as a part of our approval this evening. We have some payments to our legal team. We have to pay for sewer refuse and trash this evening will be part of our set of checks, and also health insurance. So it's expensive to be part of a borough. That's why we pay taxes. But anyway, those are just some highlights. The other thing I'll make mention of is that our next meeting is scheduled for February 24th. That's at 8 a.m. So if you want to come in and, get more savvy about what the budget looks like and some of the hot topics in finance, we welcome you.
Sherry, can you tell us, or can staff tell us how much, I'm curious, and need a reminder, how much have we expended in legal fees specific to the sign ordinance legal matter?
As of January 31st, the total is almost $90,000.
Okay, so I don't know if we want to make mention of that item, but we do get some of that covered by our own insurance. But still, legal things are expensive. I think that's it, all I have for you guys for the Finance Committee.
We'll turn it right back over to you then for
Okay.
Borough School District Liaison.
Yep, absolutely. So we are just having a wonderful relationship with the school board. So all things are good. The state of the union is great. We had another one of our collaboration meetings on January 25th in the evening. We had a great group from our team there. So Sarah was there, and Jennifer was there, and Alyssa and I were there. And we got to meet with the school board officials on their side, as well as the superintendent. We had a great discussion. I mean, I'll touch on a couple highlights. One, crossing guards is still a hot topic. So there's just maybe some work we can do to try to make that interaction better, and maybe we can find some hidden crossing guards somewhere. So that tends to be something we need to continue to work on with them. We did talk a little bit about the track and that we were refurbishing it. So that was a hot topic of conversation. The other thing I'll mention is that the school district is having a big town hall meeting on March 16th. I think that'd be really interesting for our community to come out to and understand what's going on with the school district. So that'll be great.
Thank you. Okay, Stormwater Authority Liaison, Bonnie.
Oh, okay. There has not been a meeting since our last council meeting. It is actually scheduled for this coming Tuesday morning, February 14th at 8 a.m., and the public is welcome.
Thank you, and Michelle is not here. She's the Library Board Liaison, and we don't have an update with respect to the library, any library activities. So I think you're going to report on Capital Region Council of Governments.
Well, yeah, Michelle and I went to their dinner, which was very interesting. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to collaborate more with some of these other municipalities. Maybe there's opportunity around purchasing big items together that all the communities need, like salt and things like that. So they were highlighting some of those opportunities for the participants to get involved in. We did have a guest speaker. I expected it maybe to talk about like financial interesting topics for the borough, but there was a lot of time there spent talking about unclaimed property. That seemed to be a hot topic. Michelle and I think we left before the business part of it because, we were like, we didn't know what was going on, so we're just like, we're out of here. But so I don't really have a report on anything specific that they were doing because it was really focused on the dinner.
Okay.
But the dinner was good.
Well, with regard to the unclaimed property, if you go out to the Pennsylvania Treasury website, you can do a search on your name, and potentially there are items out there you may not be aware of. Insurance checks, stock checks, it could be a small amount of $10, but do go out there, search for your name or people you know, and you may find, it's happened in my family this year. So it is a good opportunity to take a look at that website. The next meeting for the COG is February 20th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. All right, we've reached our second period of public comment. If you have anything to share regarding the action items that are to follow or the Chesapeake Bay Pollution Reduction Plan amendment, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, so we're moving on then to new business. These are our action items that we've already discussed in the previous section of the meeting. So public safety.
I'd like to move to approve the transfer of 2 used police vehicles to the Camp Hill Fire Department.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. So there's been a motion and a second to approve the transfer of 2 used police vehicles to the Camp Hill Fire Department. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Public Works, Jennifer.
I move that we approve the sale of Public Works items offered on Municipid.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the sale of Public Works items offered on Municipid. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I move that we approve the proposal for the roadway condition study by HRG in the amount of $7,600.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the proposal for the roadway condition study to HRG. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? That motion carries.
I move that we request, I move that we approve partial payment to HRG, application payment number 1 in the amount of $214,688.10. I'm sorry, let me correct my statement.
In situ form, right? Yeah.
Somehow my words got twisted and I was trying to go with the flow. I move that we approve partial payment to In Situ Form LLC, payment number 1 in the amount of $214,688.10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve partial payment to In Situ Form. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I move that we approve the proposal for time and materials engineering services for bidding and construction of the streetscape project to HRG in the estimated amount of $149,500.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the proposal for time and materials and engineering services for bidding and construction of the streetscape project. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Before I make the last action item, I just wanted to clarify, when we spoke in committee yesterday, we talked about making that conditional upon receipt. Do I need to amend that
Conditional
action item
upon-
to say that,
Receipt of,
the contract? Do you want me, okay. Okay, so I move that we approve the proposal conditional upon receipt of the contract for Siebert Park Stadium track resurfacing in the estimated amount of $273,260 to be split with the Camp Hill School District.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the proposal for Siebert Park Stadium track resurfacing contingent
Conditional.
upon their receiving the contract. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Mercedes.
Okay, Parks and Recreation. I move to approve the request to use streets for the Earl Besh Project Trick or Trot 5K race of November 4th, 2023.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the use of the streets for the Trick or Trot 5K. And for those of you who are looking at the agenda, it is incorrect in the agenda, which is why Mercedes is saying November 4th. So November 4th is the correct date. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I move to authorize the sale of items from Recreation Department on Municipid.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the sale of items from the Rec Department on Municipid. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I move to approve the use of the Camp Hill pool for the Camp Hill Aquatics Club as permission to post signs in Siebert Park.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the Camp Hill Aquatics Club to use the pool and to post signs in Siebert Park. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I authorize. I move to authorize the placement of a sign on the corner of North 24th and Market Street by Camp Hill School District Canadensis program.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to put a sign by Willow Park advertising the Canadensis spaghetti dinner. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. PPP, Bonnie.
All right. I would like to make a motion to appoint Deborah Lawrence to the Human Relations Commission for a 3-year term expiring on 12/31/25.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to appoint Deborah Lawrence to the Human Relations Commission. Any discussion?
3 years, is it supposed to be 26 in here? The date?
23, 24, 25.
25, okay, end of 25. I just want to make sure, bad at math.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. And now to you, Sherry, with
Okay,
finance.
terrific. It's kind of scary when someone who's bad at math is on the finance committee, but that's good. It's more dyslexia than anything else. Okay, I'd like to make a motion for the payment of checks in the amount of $574,386.51.
We have a motion and a second for the payment of checks. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Okay, excellent. I'd like to make a motion to approve the transfer of $250,000 from our general fund to our capital improvement fund.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the transfer of funds from, in the amount of $250,000 from the general to the capital improvement fund. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, we have reached our third period of public comment. If you have any public comments pertaining to any concerns at all or issues you'd like to raise, please come to the microphone, make sure it's on, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Well, this was an efficient meeting. Thank you all. We will just end with closing remarks then by council. Sherry.
I usually say something. I guess I'm just feeling happy about the way the borough is working, way the team is working together, and just the fact that we have like a great relationship with the school district. So it makes you feel positive to be on this, we have this responsibility and just see everything running so smoothly. So that's my comment for this evening.
Thank you. Bonnie.
I agree. Yeah, I do appreciate the borough very much and everybody who works here.
I forgot to mention during the Parks and Rec report that I'm working on moving the meeting from February 28th to February 21st at 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Jennifer.
Public Works will hold its next meeting on Tuesday, March 7th at 8 a.m.
Community Business and Government Relations meeting is tomorrow, 4 p.m. Hope to see you all there.
Leah.
I'm really excited about the Climate Action Plan report, and I'd love to get involved with that.
Awesome. Maybe Sarah, maybe you can connect Leah with the Climate Action Group for further work. And my only comment is I just want to thank the fire department for inviting us. Jennifer and I were able to attend the fire awards banquet, and it was just really wonderful event to be at, and very appreciative to the fire department and all you do. So please pass that along to the entire company. Yeah, absolutely. All right, and with that, is there a move to adjourn?